Welcome to our channel, Dark Delight. Today we have something very special for you. We will share real-life encounters with the supernatural. These stories are creepy, unsettling, and absolutely real. If you love a good scare, stay with us for the next 8 minutes. Story 1. The Ghost in the Mirror. Our first story comes from Sarah, who experienced something terrifying when she was just 16 years old. One night, after a long day at school, Sarah went to brush her teeth before bed. The bathroom was small, with a big mirror above the sink. As she brushed her teeth, she looked up into the mirror. That's when she saw it. Behind her, in the reflection, stood a figure. It was a woman with long, dark hair and pale skin. The woman was wearing a white dress and looked very old-fashioned, like she was from another time. Sarah felt a chill run down her spine. She quickly turned around to see who was behind her, but no one was there. The bathroom was empty. Confused and scared, Sarah looked back at the mirror. The woman was still there, staring right at her. But this time, the woman was smiling. It wasn't a friendly smile. It was a creepy, almost sinister smile. Sarah felt her heart pound in her chest. She dropped her toothbrush and ran out of the bathroom, slamming the door behind her. For hours, Sarah stayed in her room, too scared to go back into the bathroom. She kept thinking about the woman's smile and those dark eyes. The next day, she told her parents what happened, but they didn't believe her. They said she was just tired or imagining things. Sarah decided to do some research about the house. She found out that many years ago, a woman had lived there and had died under mysterious circumstances. Some people in the neighborhood believed her spirit still haunted the house. From that night on, Sarah never felt comfortable in that bathroom again. She avoided looking into the mirror whenever she could. The image of the ghostly woman with the dark hair and creepy smile haunted her for years. Even now, as an adult, she gets chills whenever she thinks about that night. What would you do if you saw something like that in your mirror? Let us know in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this story, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for more real-life ghost stories. Our second story is about Tom, who had a very strange experience while staying at his friend's house. One night, Tom was sleeping peacefully when he suddenly woke up. He heard someone whispering his name. Tom. Tom. The whisper was soft but clear. Tom thought it was his friend playing a joke, so he got up to check. He walked to his friend's room and saw his friend fast asleep, snoring quietly. Confused, Tom went back to bed, thinking it was just his imagination. But as soon as he lay down, the whispering started again. Tom. Tom. This time, it was louder and sounded right next to his ear. Tom's heart started to race. He looked around the dark room, but there was no one there. The whispering continued, getting more insistent. Tom. Tom. Tom was so scared that he couldn't sleep for the rest of the night. He just lay there, wide awake, until morning. When he finally got up, he told his friend about the whispering. To his surprise, his friend wasn't shocked at all. His friend said, "Oh, that happens a lot here. Many guests have heard the whispering. Some even refused to stay overnight again." Tom felt a chill run down his spine. He had never believed in ghosts before, but now he wasn't so sure. He decided to leave early, and he never stayed at that house again. What would you do if you heard whispering in the middle of the night? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Our next story is about Lisa, who had a terrifying experience in a hotel during a business trip. Lisa checked into an old historic hotel in a small town. She was given a room on the top floor. The room was cozy, but had an eerie, old-fashioned feel to it. The wallpaper was faded, and the furniture looked antique. Late that night, Lisa was trying to sleep when she heard a knocking sound. It was coming from her door. She got up, opened the door, but no one was there. She thought it was just her imagination and went back to bed. But then the knocking started again, louder this time. She opened the door quickly, but again, no one was there. Lisa started to feel uneasy. She checked the hallway, which was dimly lit and empty. She could feel a cold draft, which made her shiver. As Lisa lay back down, she heard footsteps inside her room. Her heart pounded as she looked around, but there was no one there. The footsteps continued, slowly pacing back and forth. Lisa was too scared to move. She pulled the covers up to her chin and tried to stay calm. The knocking came again, and this time, it was followed by a whisper. A cold, chilling voice said, "Get out!" Lisa's fear turned to panic. She grabbed her phone and called the front desk. The receptionist told her that no one else was on her floor. Terrified, Lisa decided to leave the hotel immediately. She packed her things and rushed out. The next morning, she learned from a local that a previous guest had died in that very room under mysterious circumstances. They said the room was haunted, and many guests had experienced strange occurrences. Lisa vowed never to stay in that hotel again. She still feels a chill when she thinks about that night. What would you do if you encountered a haunted room? Our last story is about Mike, who was visiting his grandparents' old farmhouse. The farmhouse was isolated, surrounded by thick woods. It was a quiet, peaceful place during the day, but at night, it felt very different. One night, Mike was staying in a small room on the second floor. It was late, and everyone else was asleep. The wind was howling outside, and the house creaked with every gust. Mike was trying to sleep when he suddenly heard a strange noise. It sounded like a child crying. The sound was faint but clear, coming from somewhere inside the house. Mike got out of bed and followed the sound down the dark, narrow hallway. The crying led him to the attic door. His heart was pounding, and his hands were shaking as he reached for the doorknob. Slowly, he opened the door and climbed the creaky wooden stairs. The attic was dusty and filled with old, forgotten items. The crying grew louder, echoing in the cold, dark space. It seemed to be coming from an old, dusty toy chest in the corner. Mike walked over, each step making the floorboards creak loudly. He hesitated for a moment, then opened the chest. Inside, he found nothing but old toys. The crying stopped suddenly, and the silence was overwhelming. Mike felt a chill run down his spine. He quickly closed the chest and backed away, his heart racing. He rushed back downstairs, not looking back. The next morning, he told his grandparents about what had happened. They looked at each other with knowing expressions and told him the story of the little girl who used to live there. She had died in the attic many years ago, and some people claimed to hear her crying at night. Mike never stayed in that house again. The memory of that night haunted him for years. What would you do if you heard a child crying in the middle of the night? Let us know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this story, please like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for more eerie tales from Dark Delights.